The story of Icarus is an interesting one, should I say. And I want to make sure I get this correct here. Because according to, I think it's study.com, maybe. According to study.com, the moral of the story of Icarus is this. Is to not get carried away with the infatuation of innovation and technology. As well, it is a parable and warning regarding man's desire to escape Earth's surface and achieve flight. Essentially, do not get too carried away and respect the limits of inventions. Producer Joe with the savvy graphic there, and I don't know how he came up with this, but it works. So, here's the thing. Philadelphia Wings, how high were their expectations this season? I'm not saying everyone picked them to win it all. I'm not saying another person did. I did. And I host the only Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. So there was a little bit of expectations, and I know it's very weird for me to say, being in my mom's basement, but I just want people to understand my voice holds a little bit of weight, and not just down here. So the Wings are now 5-8. They are 1-6 at home. They are the only team in the National Lacrosse League with only one home win. Everyone else has 2 or 3 or more. 8,737 people attended the game against the Vancouver Warriors. The Wings were 5-7, coming in with a chance to really make some noise and grow in the standings. Every last one of them left disappointed because Vancouver led 9-7 at halftime and won 21-12. And I've said on this show, Vancouver Warriors have been playing better the last 5 or 6 weeks. And listen, that may be true. It's no excuse for a team like the Philadelphia Wings. Paul Day is the head coach and GM of this team. He has been that way since the inception of this team in 2019. Now, in that year, they went 4-14, and the next year, they went like 8-6 or something like that, and the team announced on their website that, hey, we've announced him as our GM and head coach. He's a police officer, which I think is a great job to have. I've always loved police officers. That's not the point. It's just me giving credit where credit's due. So he serves his community. He apparently remembers watching old film of Philadelphia indoor lacrosse from way back when. He won a Minto Cup. He's decorated in all these things. And yet fans don't care. Because as I've said before, I don't care if you're a lacrosse hotbed. I don't care if you're accomplished in this. Fans don't buy into that kind of stuff. They buy into the product, which you're putting out there in the field, marketing, etc. And so, how did fans take the loss? There are 67 comments on the Instagram post where they have the final score 21-12. And I just have a couple of them that I've screenshot that I want to read on the show. Eric says, fire Paul Day or lose fans. Dave, in response to that, says, not renewing my season tickets and giving away the rest of the games this year. Johnny says a comment, I'm so mad that I already bought a season ticket for next year. That one I don't take as harshly because he already bought a season ticket for next year and he's just voicing his frustration. But then this guy, or in response to him, says, I had a feeling this year was going to blow. Season tickets person sent out 200 emails. Glad I ignored them. And Colin Moore, in response to that, says, for the first time since the 90s, we are not renewing. They've just shown a lack of willingness to do anything. No point in wasting paychecks anymore. Here's another one from Colin where he emphasizes the point in a comment that he actually made, not just replying. Him and many of his friends in the club section have already decided not to renew next year. So sad the way firing one bad coach and general manager could have righted so many wrongs years ago. You've already lost 8 season ticket seats for next year from the main club box. And then Dave, in response to him, then says, oh, yeah, well, make that 11 because apparently 3 of his people are not renewing. And then this one is the most damning of them all. Fly Orstein says, what a waste of $10. Those are real comments from Philadelphia Wings fans. Now, I will be the first person to say, from experience and just from viewing the public on Twitter, Philadelphia fans are not the most rational people sometimes. It's because they're very passionate about what they root for. I'm actually shocked because one of the fans of Philadelphia sports is a guy named Pete, who is a sportsbook guy here on the network, Primetime Live with Philly Pete. He's actually one of the most rational fans I've ever met. But Philadelphia fans, a lot of those maybe knee-jerk reactions, but it shows you. So, and some of the other comments are like, fire Paul Day. Just fire him. Get rid of him. This is the point in the National Lacrosse League where we walk a fine line. But as I mentioned in the previous segments, we need to invest now and profit later. Hutton Jackson came on this show on Friday-ish for the sports betting part of our show. And Hutton Jackson said he was impressed the Colorado Mammoth made some moves at the trade deadline. He said normally teams will stay complacent. And let me just provide some backstory to why that may be. And it's for regular NLL fans. You don't want to hear this because you've heard it a million times. I will say for newer fans of this game, guys have day jobs. Okay? It's very hard to uproot things when the league is so low budget right now, despite having an amazing product. So while we can wish for things to happen, sometimes they can't. However, why can't the Wings... I don't think they made any moves at the trade deadline. Any. One could argue, well, Mike, before this point, they hadn't lost the Warriors 21-12. And that might be true. The Wings are 5-8. And their 5 remaining games are versus the Rush, at home against the Bandits, and then on the road against Panther City, Colorado, and Rochester. All 5 of those, I could argue, are winnable. At worst, they have to go 4-1 if they want to get to 9 wins and like hope they can make a playoff based on some tiebreaker. Chances are they need to win out to make the playoffs. Because 10 wins will probably get the Wings in. 9 wins will probably be flirting with the tiebreakers. You don't want to do that. My question, the Wings ownership and just in general, how good do you want to be? How long do you want to last? I don't know if Paul Day being fired is the answer, but I will say it should be a definite possibility. This league cannot stay complacent. If you want to keep fans, unfortunately, fans like winning. And I can argue till I'm blue in the face, you should support your team no matter what. But it's not fun being a fan knowing your team's going to lose. I didn't like broadcasting for my pro football team after a while because they kept losing. And this year I felt better doing so because they are winning. And I'm just a broadcaster. I'm a fan. We're all fans. How good do teams like the Wings want to be? In the micro, it's tough. The bigger picture, the macro of this all, nothing you can do about it, man. There is something you can do about it. You can make changes before it's too late. before fans completely are pissed off and you're not doing anything. You're complacent. Fans don't want that. They want to see you doing things. Maybe the Wings win the rest of their 5 games, and maybe I'll look good because they might win the championship. That'd be best case scenario for me. Best case scenario for the Wings, they win 3 of the next 5 and show the fans next year that they have a little bit of hope.